But overall, we have it fairly safe. We have a lockdown. We have security where the sheriff's department comes around at night to see if there's broken windows. They call up Mr. Quant, which we've had several times. At other buildings, I don't know about this one. I know at Trailside and Woodfield we have. So, you know, we're doing as much as we can. I realize where she's coming from, but sometimes you got to look at the whole picture too.
It's obviously not a fortress. It's not impenetrable. But I don't have a problem with us taking reasonable precautions to keep people out that shouldn't be in here. And I don't think it's a huge inconvenience to the community to do that.
Okay, but I would say that we need a sign by the front door that gives an emergency phone number of somebody to call to open that darn door. If you walk up and your Cub Scouts and you're late and everybody else is in the gym and you're knocking on the door for 5 minutes because nobody's showing up, there should be a sign there for whoever's in the building at the time to say, go and open the front door, if that's the method you're going to use.
Or how difficult, I know you mentioned this real quick before, would it be to make the intercom system, or whatever's supposed to work out there, actually work to where you could hear it? Oh, but you could walk over there.
It works now, but it only works to the office where, you know, I came in one night, I forgot my glasses here actually at the meeting, so I was going to come back, and it's locked out already. Too bad, so sad.
And this is where it's an open facility, it's always been open, but also it's locked out. And I completely disagree with charging somebody from WASP for a fob to use to get in here. Don't we have fobs that we can hand out on a recurring basis and reuse for other parents? Why would we be charging individuals for a fob?
It's the quantity. We had to order a quantity.
Okay, but and
There's
where did
cost involved.
where did that roll under?
What's that?
Where did that roll under?
What do you mean?
I didn't prove that anywhere. Where did that roll under? What?
They pay for it, so it's not a cost to us.
It's not a cost to us, it's passed on to the user.
Yeah, but if we purchased them and then we gave them to them, they didn't buy them individually. Right?
Well, they rent it or whatever you want to say.
Okay, well, that's what I'm getting to. Shouldn't the district have a quantity that they reuse on a yearly basis? Unless we're changing our fob system right away. I mean, I can't see where it should be a cost to anybody in WASP at all. So maybe we got to need to rethink how we're doing this. Either we buy a bulk that we're going to keep year to year, and for the number of years we're doing this, we can take it out of what we're receiving from WASP, right? So it's no cost still to the district.
Or maybe we should be looking at two separate things here. What we're going to do as far as building security, whether we feel that locking down doors is right or not. But then secondarily looking at how we handle with WASP. Should they go to just these doors being locked, with the doorbell, like Chris is talking about, maybe, you know, eliminate the need, because at this, on the same hand, giving a bunch of parents key fobs to the entire building may also somewhat defeat the purpose of them. So I guess
Basically, one of the parents was the terrorist that wanted to stay. She said she dressed up and came in with a plastic gun or something. Is that what she said?
She didn't say that.
I mean, that alone is, actually, that is an offense she could be arrested for. But we don't want to tell her that at this point, but I think we should send a letter and state that actually what she did that is not condonable by our school district, as she stated at a public meeting. So I'd say let's have a little bit more discussion on how we're going to do this with WASP. But I can't see where it would be better to give them a key to unlock this locked open door, let the door lock, and then after school, if they're up and down in the hallway, who cares?
6 in the morning. We're building, done all through the hall, our buildings will be open at 6 in the morning.
They should be open. They should be open for anybody coming in before school to talk to the teaching staff that's here. Right? So I'd say let's put this on discussion for next month, a little bit more.
Would it be helpful to gather some information on what the other area schools do?
If you could, please.
Would be,
yes.
Should this fall still under recreation or would it go under a different committee?
And also I'd like to get the input from WASP and see if they feel the lunchroom being locked is sufficient.
how many people from the different WASPs are in here right now?
We're just today's child.
Just today's child?
Okay.
Okay. Gotcha.
Motion to adjourn.
I'm not upset that we have to do it, or that we can do it. I
But-
want the children to be safe, don't get me wrong.
We couldn't hear you, what did you say?
She wants the children to be safe.
safer with the fox.
Oh, I think so.
I think everybody wants children to be safe.
Security, yes.
And we're not saying nobody wants children to be less safe.
I
Question is-
just wanted everyone to know that we did not start.
I understand.
Right,
Taking
right.
the fobs, they are members, so we know who's using, we know who uses it to get in, so.
Do you feel comfortable with how it is working right now?
I actually, the way it's open all the time, that my parents are upset because they pay for the fobs. And it's open most of the time that they come in, so they're upset that they pay for the fobs and it's open.
But if it were working as advertised, They would like
Most
that.
most of them aren't happy with that, they feel more secure. I'm not saying we should do it.
We did have a parent offer pay to have, I'll write the check, and it's not the same parent that was here. It was a different parent saying it was not in any which way, shape, or form, in a condescending tone or anything. It was, what can we do? This was after Sandy Hook. I mean, this was right after all that happened. And so the parents were genuinely concerned as we were, and that's, so when it was brought to us to see if we would, collaboratively maybe do this, we were, well, it is in the best interest of the kids, it's during the best interest of the community, the parents wanted it. And it was, how would we do it? Which would be the easiest way, which would be the most efficient way, cost-effective way to do it, and that's when the key fobs were thought about. So it was kind of a cost-effective way to do it without having to do a lot of installation of another whole system. It was something that was already established in the building. We did have a family, like I said, say, what can I do? I would be willing to pay to have something put in the building for my children, for them to be safe when they're here. I mean, this was a very scary time. So that's really where it came about, and that it was meant to be for the kids when they're in school the next day. It wasn't just for us. It was for the children the next day to really secure the building in the event somebody did want to come in and hide out and cause the kids harm. And my only concern with doing the doorway here, which would be great, but it still is, that's not really the whole reason for doing it in the first place, because we're still leaving probably the most dangerous place, the bathrooms, wide open. And,
Well, the whole school's
I don't
wide
think I
open.
need to paint a picture as to why bathrooms would be the most dangerous place. But, so it's not really the reason for it in the first place, I guess, is I would be fine with that. And I think Ken Quant did come to me and ask me about just doing this and having a buzzer. That would be fine. I'd also, but they're going out and using the restrooms, they're going out to the gymnasium at times, so it wouldn't work all the time. But I mean, if that's something we had to do, we would have to do it. I mean, that's really the reason how it all kind of started.
That's why I think we need more discussion on this. Don't get me wrong, I understand completely what you're saying. What frustrates me on this is the perceived safety. There's no safety in having a fob. If somebody comes with a gun and they want to get in this building, 2 seconds, you shoot out a window, you open the door, you walk right in. Right? And this is where that parent said, let's spend $1 million a building, we'll put in safety, bulletproof glass in every single pane in the building.
I do think there's research though, Dan, that having the doors locked and those things, the harder you make it to get in, the less likely someone's gonna plan for those things, and it also gives you that extra 2 seconds to see that happening versus just an open door. So, I mean,
Yeah,
we
there's
can discuss
research
this
on
another
everything.
time.
The real research shows if you have armed personnel in the school, protecting the school, that nobody comes to that school. That's what shows right now, and we're not willing to do that. Apparently, I brought that up before. So if we don't want to arm anybody in the school, then everything else is perceived safety, so.
But I guess how I'm kind of looking at it is, I'm fine with the key fobs, the locking doors, I'm fine with that. But to address some of the concerns of the kids in here, because Evergreen is kind of the hub of everything happening and the doors are open a lot, maybe we should look, even in addition to that, doing something with these doors as well. Because then, okay, if there are things going on at those doors, like tonight, those doors need to be open, we can still offer some security in this room where you have your kids. And I have to imagine when they do go to the gymnasium or things like that, someone supervising them and going with them type of thing. But that may help
So-
alleviate some of the concern here.
And I think it's
But
going to be put
also-
on a committee for building and grounds next month. She's going to look at what some of the other areas do and then can address it more
Yeah,
then.
this is really a building and grounding one, this is a policy, building and ground is for
Whatever.
the physical facility. Let's put it on policy and curriculum, because it really comes down to, for example, if WASP, they say they go down to the gymnasium to use it, right? Right, you're locking the doors in the gymnasium when you go inside of there? Or the gymnasium doors stay open?
Right. But
Right.
also 90% of the kids are still in here.
So that's what
And
I'm
they have
saying.
some ability to lock this door.
Right now, we're telling the parents, we're gonna sell you this, it'll be more safe. In reality, it's not more safe. And locking the place up and saying to everybody else will make it difficult for the whole community to use it is ridiculous. So I'd say we need more discussion on this. We come up with a policy that makes sound sense.
When you're putting some things on to discuss, I think there's 3 other things you should put on the agenda when you're talking about buildings open or not. Number 1 is the workload on the custodial staff when they clean the bathrooms, and if you're letting the public in or not, and I'm not saying I'm for or against it, but you clean the bathrooms and then comes in traipsing kids with football spikes and so forth on, and now they have to re-clean the bathrooms, so you want to take a look at what that impact would be. I think the second piece is when these kids do come in and they bring their balls and bounce some of the vandalism, so as we increase vandalism in our buildings, scraping up the walls, painting needs, so once again, I'm not suggesting buildings should be opened or not, but you may want to think about that. And the third thing I think is that you might have a viable solution from some of it, and I've talked to Susie about this, is the option of hiring high school students. I mean, I did this when I was a kid through the rec program, and they, can write it on their resume. They can put it when they go to college at a job. They are the people at the main points for the rec program, and they let the people into the program. They let the people out, and they're in charge of supervising kids, and then they report to Susie. Betty Sue and Johnny Barry let their kids run around. Susie then deals with the coach. So it gives the kid a job. And it helps supervise the buildings are locked or unlocked, whatever you want, Dan, but there is a person through the rec department supervising in and out, which helps with kids flowing in and out of the building. So as you're thinking about what Kathy said, maybe we should talk to other schools. I think those are 3 things that also you need to talk about.
And video camera.
Thank you.
And possibly video cameras being placed in the 3 elementary buildings, and then also, taking a look at the video camera piece.
Which are becoming less and less expensive these days, and the high school is completely outfitted with video cameras.
All right, and
That's why
probably
they're-
adding a few more over at Fox River too, as we come,
Yep.
So I think there's a lot of things you can take a look at as you're gonna look at all the different areas.
Yeah.
The more likely scenario that I want you to keep in mind is we are getting more, at Evergreen anyway, more and more situations where the non-custodial parent is not permitted to pick up their children. And I think a more likely scenario would be a parent or a relative coming to pick up one of these kids when there's legal reasons that we can't.
That's school day though. That's school day.
Probably lost
It's probably all.
WASP is not a division of the Waterford Graded School.
I'm not saying it is, but if I had an issue and I didn't want an uncle to pick up one of the children, WASP would be aware of that. And with the fob system, that uncle or aunt, whomever, can't just walk in and say, hey, come with me tonight. That's more likely a scenario than an intruder looking to do bodily harm. But we're getting more and more of those type of kids. And I'd be concerned as building principal, if the door was open prior to school, that a non-custodial parent would come and intercept, for lack of a better word, that student once they got into the building. So that's an area I hope you all consider.
Is your motion still hanging on? Everybody done? Then I second it.
Begin to see them?
Yes.
Okay. Susie, or who's going to look for information on the surrounding school districts? Kathy. Kathy, you have the lane rights for that one? Can I get this information? All right. All right, you're all set?